It's another great day for the Business B.E.A.R podcast, and thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you're ready for a great episode. We'll be hearing from Chris Nichols today of Narrows Hill, Dimesy's Domain, the ultimate map of Deep Creek Lake, and tailor-made real estate, and so much more. This guy's got it going on. But before we get to hearing all about him and the stuff he's involved with, let's go over a few things about the Business B.E.A.R podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, well, I've got to say welcome. The Business B.E.A.R podcast is a local business development program that highlights local economic development officials, partners, and of course, the businesses we have right here in our backyard. So why bear? Well, that's simple. Black bears are synonymous with Garrett County. We love our furry, fluffy friends out in the woods. Of course, they are pet-shaped. They are not pet-friendly, so don't go near them. But we do love our black bears here in Garrett County. And as far as the show's concerned, it's actually an acronym that means Business Expansion, Assistance, and Retention Podcast. So if you would like to hear your business featured, reach out to me at any point in time. You can call me at 301-334-7281 or email cnorman@garrettcountymd.gov. Again, that's 301-334-7281 or email me at cnorman@garrettcountymd.gov. All right, it's nearly showtime, but some quick housekeeping. The Business B.E.A.R podcast is sponsored by the Garrett County Business Development Office, and any opinions expressed by the host or their guests are their own and do not reflect that of Garrett County government or Garrett County business development. All right, today I have an engaged and passionate member of our community with me here in the Business B.E.A.R studio. He owns local businesses, he volunteers in several local organizations, and he lives by the explore where you live, love where you live lifestyle. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Chris Nichols to the show today. How you doing today, Chris?
Fantastic. It's great to be here, Connor.
Well, thanks so much for coming down. I was excited when I got your email. It took a little time for us to get this together, but we're happy to have you in the studio finally talking about everything we've got going on. You know, you are out there moving and shaking, and I'm just eager to break this down and let people know what you've got going on. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself. What brings you to Garrett County? Are you local? Were you born here? Did you make Garrett County your home? Let's hear a 101 on Chris Nichols.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So it's I was born here in Garrett County.
Okay.
But crucially for that local designation, I did not go to high school here. So it's kind of people ask you, southern, northern. Neither. I moved around a good bit growing up.
Okay.
Went to boarding school in Hagerstown, actually, because I was just smart enough and just much enough of a troublemaker to warrant going to boarding school.
Nice, okay.
College in New Jersey, majored in physics and math, and then joined the Navy from that as part of the nuclear engineering program. 6 years in the Navy as a nuclear engineering officer on a carrier, and realized that, the opportunity of the Navy was really amazing, but I just really wanted to set down some roots somewhere. So I moved back to Garrett County around 2001 and have been here ever since and don't plan on going anywhere.
Nice.
And I think a lot of the businesses and organizations and stuff that I'm in just really reflect that love of Garrett County and the desire to kind of spread the message of how great it is to live, work, and play here.
Gotcha. So that kind of leads into my next question here. So why Garrett County? What's special about it? Can we break that down a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's really got something for everyone as far as, if you start from the outdoors experience, there's the 4 distinct seasons, although the winters have been a little disappointing lately, but, those always kind of come in cycles. So you can have something great to do outside every season of the year. And there's so many natural resources and recreational resources that it's easy to take advantage of something year round. So that's one of the big reasons I love it. The people and the culture is just, another amazing thing about the county. It's just a giving, caring, friendly place that, is great to raise your family, live, work, and make friends and spend quality time here. So yeah, a lot of great things going for it, and just kind of decided that I'd seen a lot of the world, and when I came back here, I said, this is where I want to settle down and spend the rest of my life.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I don't think I could say it better. Garrett County is a special place. It's something you have to experience. You have to be here to kind of take in because,
Right.
you can hear us anecdotally say it, but once you're here and you feel it, again, I think there's a great balance between work, life, business. It all works in cohesion in Garrett County. So, Chris, tell us about those early days coming to Garrett County, starting your career, Narrows Hill.
Right. It's been kind of a business I've had to collect all of my, extracurricular activities. So since I moved back, my day job has mainly been working for the Department of Energy, the U.S. Department of Energy.
Okay.
Over in Morgantown, we have a national lab, the National Energy Technology Lab. So in some capacity, I've been working for the U.S. government, both as a contractor and as a federal employee. But I've had a lot of side interests, and Narrows Hill kind of captures all of those various businesses that you kind of start, and maybe they succeed, maybe they don't.
Gotcha.
But I've had that business kind of for the last 10 or 15 years as kind of a way to, just keep track of the accounting on things.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I understand in your earlier days with Narrows Hill, you kind of had a tent for creating some games-oriented products. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was kind of I think the first reason I started the business was a product called the Card Caddy. It was an invention of mine that is a playing card case and discard tray in one. I invented it because my son at the time loved to play Uno.
Okay.
And you pull that deck of cards out, and it's this, oversized deck, so it's this big, tall stack of cards. He'd want to play when we were at his brother's baseball games, he needed a discard tray so the cards don't fall over the place. And then when you're ready to go back, put it back in your bag or your purse or wherever, you wanted a nice solid case to protect those cards because they got all ripped up and dog-eared.
Yeah.
In transit. So I invented that product, kind of took it from the idea. One of the great resources of the county was that at the time, and I think they still do have the Power of Possibilities program that helped kind of develop that business.
Yes, absolutely.
And provided a lot of the tools to help you kind of get over that initial bump of, hey, I want to start a business, but it's so overwhelming. That helped provide some of the tools and impetus and resources to help set that business up.
Awesome.
So I did the business and sold the Card Caddy and sold a lot, but just never quite hit that critical mass that would allow it to take off as a business. So you can still buy them on my website, narrowshill.com, and I think they're very cool, handy products, and maybe it just needs the time to be right for it to pick up again.
I mean, if you think of the prevalence of like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, those are getting so. It's like they're coming back in full force.
Yep.
More and more your celebrities are showcasing their decks and their swag around these games and stuff. So I think as this comes back, this product you have is very convenient for somebody that's playing regularly and wants to be involved with that stuff. So we're going to spread the word far and wide because I think that's a great product. And putting it back out there, especially to those people, whether they're doing trading cards, home games, or whether they're into some of the popular things like I think they have Magic the Gathering, I think they have Yu-Gi-Oh, they have Pokemon, you name it. There's tons of card games these days that are really coming back in full force. So I think as your millennial crowd gets older, they're getting back into it. They've got their own disposable incomes to go and buy their dream cards. They're teaching their kids.
Yep.
So I think there's a second life behind the Card Caddy coming up.
I think so. I think it's got some legs. It just didn't get quite the right viewing. The right person didn't see it. I think so. We'll see what happens.
Oh, we're gonna change that. Absolutely. Genius before your time. All right. Well, cool. I think that's kind of a nice segue just to talk about kind of the next venture that came along for you, the ultimate map of Deep Creek. Can you tell us a little bit about this? Like, what gets you into cartography? You're kind of well-rounding yourself from nuclear programs to working with federal government to designing what, in my opinion, is going to be the next stage in excellent card gaming accessories.
Right.
To you're into cartography and mapping, and it all ties back into Garrett County. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's just through my day job, I had been working with mapping programs, geospatial information systems, or GIS is the fancy term. And I've always loved maps since I was a kid. It's kind of the way to get out and explore without having to leave your library.
Yeah.
So it's always been something that I've had an affinity for, and one of the advantages I mentioned about Garrett County is all the public land and resources, but that's somewhat of a disadvantage too because a lot of it's owned and operated by different entities. And
Okay.
from the government world, it's easy to see how everyone has their own little turf, and but the point of that is that there's never been really a comprehensive map that shows all of these public recreation resources because they all have different entities managing them.
Yeah, good point.
So I kind of said it was just frustrating to me. It was one of those personal things of like I'd like to get that. I'd like to be able to see in one place all the stuff I could do, and having had the experience with the software, it just really made it a natural project for me to kind of undertake, and also just kind of summed up another reason I love about the county. It's just all of that opportunity out there, and the ability to go get it and go do it anytime.
So what makes the ultimate map of Deep Creek different from others?
Well, I think first of all, there's really none that had is geared towards taking it with you. It's waterproof, it's tear resistant, so it's specifically designed for kind of going out and adventuring. A lot of the maps out, I think all of the maps that are out there are kind of the freebie ones, which are fine, but they don't have a lot of detail. They just kind of have very general things of roads and features like that or whatever. Many of them are for advertising, so there's a lot of ad space on there, which is fine. If you're printing up maps, you got to pay for it somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, my maps are completely ad free, and they have all of those the trails. They have all the historic sites in the county, all the public parks. So just a lot of things like that other maps may not typically include.
I guess both of us can say we're from the time before the prevalence of GPS and the prevalence of phones and stuff like that. So a map was kind of your guide. Anytime my parents whipped out a map, I knew, okay, a vacation is on the horizon because they only need that when we're trying to go somewhere awesome.
Yes.
So, yeah, I get the excitement of opening up that map, and just it's a better way to be in touch with what you're doing, where you're going, and I think it's just a more genuine experience. Plus, everything that you have offered on your map, you can't find on a GPS.
That's right.
In the ultimate map, do you have things listed out like some of the local events or stuff like that happens?
A lot of that is kind of you go to my website, dimesy.com, dimesy.com, and that's referenced on the map. So some of those things change so frequently, you can't really print it on the map. It would just be out of date. But I, have a listing of all the local events every year.
Awesome.
And those are tied into where they happen on the map. So it's kind of a multimedia.
Yeah, like a really interactive, digital, physical experience.
Right. So you can kind of get all the updated stuff of what's going on, and then use the map to go find that, and things that are close. Things that's the nice thing about having that paper map is you can unfold it all and kind of get something way bigger than your computer screen could show you at once.
Now, I know this is often a shock to people. I'm a bigger guy, but I like to get out there and hike. I understand your map really highlights those local hiking trails and available trails in the community.
Absolutely, and I've done. I would say there's maybe just under 50 what I call trail areas in the county. So that can range anywhere from just the paved walking path around one of the town parks to a multi-trail system that spans many miles and can be used for a variety of uses. And I've been to all but one of the ones that I have on my map now. So
nice.
I've done a video tour of all of them on YouTube, so you can kind of go to the video tour. They're all about 15 minutes. See what the trail's like before you go out. So
wow, how cool is that?
Take down that barrier of like, well, I don't want to drive all the way out to New Germany and then the trail is just too tough for me. I kind of in each of those tours go through what the terrain is like, what the trail surface is like, and just highlight any cool features and things to do on that trail so that you can kind of get that idea before you go out.
Gosh, we need to go do that for Dolly Sod sometimes.
Yes, so that'd be nice to kind of expand. That's
maybe
the
regionally.
Growth factor of this particular idea is to kind of go out and do for other places.
Wow, well that's incredible. I know, like if you're going out and you want a more moderate hike, I've been guilty of this all the time. or I've been a victim of this rather, where a friend of mine says, come on, it's an easy hike. Let's
Right.
go out and hit this trail. And then you're dying because
Right.
it's all like, 8% grade
Yep.
and in above, you're climbing rocks and boulders. So having a kind of understanding to be like, I don't think you're telling me right.
Right.
Because
right.
I've been to Chris's website.
You can see.
I've been to Dimesy. I know what you're getting me into right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And I don't know if it's on your map, but I think about that trail between Harrington Manor and Swallow Falls.
Yes.
So that's on your map.
That's on the map.
See, I should have gone to your website, checked it out.
Right.
They say it's 5 miles. I disagree. It feels more like 7. By the time you get to, you've got to go around stuff. They've been working on the trees and stuff back there. The trail's kind of changed a little bit, I think, naturally. But by the time you get to the end, you're looking at the pedometer and you go, wait a minute. I'm looking at like 7 miles.
I agree. Yes, and you have to get to a point where you can. The trail may end, but you have to get to a point where your car is too. So
yes,
that always adds a little extra as well.
Speaking of Dimesy, can we get a more comprehensive understanding of what Dimesy is? I mean, I understand it's kind of your collection, your toy chest of all the stuff that you're doing.
It really is. Dimesy comes from a boarding school nickname of one of the coaches was calling roll, and he said, Nichols, dimes, and the Dimesy thing just caught on and had, in spite of my effort to get rid of it in college, it was written on a book somewhere that I brought from high school and continued there. So it was kind of one of those nicknames you just can't get away from. That has become, Dimesy.com has become kind of my virtual attic, so to speak, of just things that are of interest to me. So you can get links to all those video trail tours, all the mapping. I'm also very interested in local history, so I've done some, articles and deep dives into, maybe things that are only of interest to me, but things about, what the area was like before the lake. Actually, it was very much a recreational sportsman's paradise even before the dam was constructed and the lake filled in. So there's a lot of really interesting stories about the county and about the area that, you kind of look back and do those deep dives into some of those histories.
How do you keep on top of all this stuff?
I do happen to be involved in a lot of community organizations, so it just kind of keeps you aware. You're in meetings and just interacting with people. So, there's good and bad of that. There's a lot of Saturday morning board meetings when you'd rather be out enjoying stuff. But, the plus side is you really get deeply immersed into things that are going on in the county and kind of the perspectives and the news before it happens. So it's on the whole a net positive, but it is one of those things you just have to make the commitment to get involved.
You also have, kind of your fingers in the real estate world.
Yes.
So you've been working with TaylorMade. How's that? Let's talk about real estate.
I mean, I really got involved in real estate to kind of spread this, love of the county I have. And it's been very rewarding to, be involved in these sales, mainly buying. I enjoyed representing buyers, just kind of help them find what's available and kind of help them filter out what's going to make them happiest in a new piece of property. So that has been a real rewarding part of the whole process and becoming an agent to kind of help people find their dream. So I really enjoyed it.
I imagine that is enjoyable. I mean, we love Garrett County, and being able to share that experience and bring someone in the community, they're going to live full time, or they're going to make this their second home, but they're going to make Garrett County a piece of them.
Yes.
So I can imagine the joy that you have spreading that. Let's talk a little bit about local market. How are you guys doing?
It's been a tough market over the last couple of years. I think if you talk to anyone about real estate, their interest rates are definitely an impediment. People have been used to abnormally low interest rates, around the pandemic and after that. So interest rates are, a little under 7%, and people feel that is too high for them to, get into a piece of property. But if you look historically, that doesn't happen very often. Interest rates don't actually get down to around 7% historically. So we've been a little spoiled by some of the lower interest rates. But, there's still good pieces of property out there, and it's really just a matter of deciding a piece of property that you like and the price that you can afford, and a lot of times you can make it work past that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of pathways to making Garrett County your home. I know as we look forward to the future, we want to grow. I think there's a lot of room to grow in the community. And, we're grateful for such engaged real estate agents like yourself that are out there, trying to pair people with those homes.
Right.
So we encourage them, of course, to come your way, right?
Absolutely. Come visit me.
So we've talked a lot about Dimesy, some of the businesses here. Can we go over contact? Do you have Facebook page or social media? Do you just encourage everyone to go right to the website?
Right.
Do you have a telephone number people should reach out to you at? Let's go over some contact information.
Yeah, I think dimesy.com is pretty easy to remember. It's just dimes with a Y at the end of it, and that will lead you to emails, social media links. So I think that's probably the best place to start. If you are interested in the maps or the card caddy, you can go to narrowshill.com. That's the kind of my online store, but that's linked through the Dimesy website as well. So that's a good way to kind of get everything that you want to know about me and more.
Nice. So instead of piecemealing, go right to dimesy.com.
Yes,
that'll be your one-stop shop. Right. Perfect. Can we talk about the local community involvement you have? I know you've served on several local nonprofits on their boards. You served as a board member for the local Garrett County Chamber of Commerce. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. I think the first organization I got involved with here locally was the Deep Creek Lake Lions Club. And just the background on that is it's part of the Lions Club International, which is the largest service organization in the world with, I think, 14 million members worldwide. But our local club, and there are a number throughout Garrett County, but almost every Lions Club worldwide has some sort of service to the visually impaired as part of their mission.
Do love the Lions Club. Shout out. I'm a Grantsville Lion.
Yes. So it's great stuff. And, kind of talking about that, not only are you helping other people and, benefiting the community and the world, but you meet people, you get engaged, you make friends. So it's, just a win-win for everyone. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. We operate the blind skier and the blind camper programs. That's our blind camper program is actually starting tomorrow.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, we bring visually impaired kids here to, they set up camp at our park on Bumblebee Road, and we take them out, on the lake, tubing, swimming. We've had visually impaired kids water skiing. So it's just a really fantastic opportunity for them to get to experience some of these recreational opportunities that they may have felt that they couldn't do, so they may have created those barriers, or they just haven't had access to them, and we provide that through the camping program, and then in the winter we have the similar skiing program, which is where our Lions Club really started over 50 years ago.
Wow, incredible! Tell me a little bit about what it was like to serve on the Chamber of Commerce. That tied you into the businesses. And of course, Thank you for the years you helped out there.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
That was a great opportunity. And sometimes it was tough to remember exactly which entity I was representing. I think it was the Lions Club. As a representative, so you have to be tied to some organization as one of the board members of the chamber. But it was absolutely a great way to become involved, get engaged, and hear what is going on in the county. Kim Durst from your office will always come into our meetings, give us a really great rundown of all of the economic development activity that was happening in the county. And, it's one of those, it's often as a government employee, it's somewhat tough to toot your horn, and a lot of the things happen in the background. But having her come in and tell us, really showed the effort and the progress that the county is making and really bringing in business and creating an ecosystem where businesses can start up, thrive, and succeed.
Excellent, Chris. I'll pay you later. That's good shout out for us. Thanks. Yeah, I'm going to use that in all the recordings now.
You guys deserve it, because it's a lot of times the government world just doesn't get the credit it's due.
Well, awesome. I appreciate that. And of course, I appreciate you and all you do in our community. I think we've learned a lot today about everything that you're into. Dimesy is busy.
That's right.
Busy in Garrett County. You've got a lot going on and can't iterate enough how much we appreciate that work and your business here in the community. It's an investment. As we have our businesses make investment in the community, we all grow. We have that ever-prevailing philosophy. The rising tide lifts all ships. As you do good, we do good. And I think they're going to really pick up some great, especially the card caddy. I know that's the next huge thing. It's coming up. It's coming back. Chris, at the end of every show, I like to open up the mic to all of my guests. If you have any announcements, if you kind of want to reiterate what we talked about, I just kind of make this your time. Right. So if you want to say anything to the people out there listening, go ahead. The mic's yours.
One other kind of temporary job of mine is as the chair of the Deep Creek Lake Centennial Committee. Deep Creek Lake will be celebrating its 100th birthday, so to speak, in 2025, and I'm one of the co-chairs of that committee, so we are going to be kicking off a lot of great stuff in 2025, and that really brings together a lot of things of just, I love the area, promoting the area, the history, but also the future. So that's one of the themes of our centennial celebration, is to not only promote and protect the history of the lake, but also, protect the lake for the next 100 years and beyond. And I think that's a very important message to get out there. But we're going to have a lot of fun and a lot of great things happening in 2025 around the Centennial Lake. And you can go to dcl100.com to learn more about that stuff.
I'm looking forward to that. Again, 100. We've been celebrating a lot of milestones.
Right.
The county just turned 150 about a year or two ago. We've got Deep Creek Lake coming up on 100 years. It's a fantastic time and a lot of anniversaries to celebrate.
Yes, a lot of cool stuff going on.
All right, Chris. Well, thank you so much for everything you do, for coming in and talking on the Business B.E.A.R podcast today. I think we had a great conversation. And thanks to everyone out there that's listening today. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn at the Garrett County Department of Business Development for all the latest happening in our business community, and of course to find out when more awesome episodes like this one of the Business B.E.A.R podcast do drop. All right, guys, thanks again. I'm Connor Norman, and I'll see you all on the other side.